in the 5 by 5.
Start. Hey, welcome to another episode of 5 by 5. We're finally back after a bit of a hiatus because we've been on a bit of a heater with our game discussions. This week we have chosen top 5 mini games. And honestly, do you consider a mini game something that's in some like a Mario Party, which is made up of an entire mini game, or are we specifically focusing on games that have their own plot and story with these mini games embedded inside?
That one. That's my list. I could have gone down the rabbit hole of like WarioWare or Mario Party or any of those other games that have made up of little mini games, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought too. I mean, it would be so easy to just say, oh, best mini games, Mario Party, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3.
Not Mario Party 4.
Fuck
so Mario
funny.
Party 4.
Yeah. Fuck it the
You
hell.
can't comment.
No, so yeah, that was my criteria. And as much as mine are going to be a top 5 list, I honestly didn't really order mine because I'm not the type of person who really strives to play the mini games, but if I ever get the hankering, or if the mini game's really fun, this is the direction I'll go. I'll play these mini games. The ones I did pick are the ones that I ended up playing a lot when I went through the game, not particularly ones that I sought out to play.
Yeah, same. Yeah, my list is a good mix, and I do have. I think the way that I typed mine out, I think I kind of have them in order. So I guess mine could be you could consider mine a top 5 if you want to.
Mine's a top 5 in the sense that these are the 5 I got, and I did kind of shuffle them around a bit. So yeah, I guess mine's in the top 5 order, but I wouldn't particularly call it my top 5 list. So in the course of a video game, what would you say a mini game inside of a video game is worth to you? Do you think it's good to have them in, say Final Fantasies, where you have a multitude of card games nowadays? Or do you think it's just distraction from the action?
I don't think it's distraction. I think it breaks it up. And it's completely optional.
Sometimes, like the new Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you're kind of forced into the Queen's Gambit game there, or whatever they call it.
Queen's Gambit? Are you talking about...
Or whatever they call it.
Fort Condor?
No,
it's
a card game.
They have, okay. Yeah, no,
embedded in that. You have to go through a tournament.
Okay, yeah, I have not played... but then that's almost not a mini game. That's almost just part of the game. What? Yeah,
but it's also one of those things you run around and you hit square to talk to whomever and challenge them to a game.
It's got that mechanic, but like these ones that I picked are truly optional, and you can leave them.
Mine are too.
Take them or leave them. So are we?
I do have one honorable mention, and then we got a couple of comments this week. So right before number 1, I've slotted in the comments there, and then. And I'll do the honorable mentions right now before we start, if you have any.
I don't have any, but I would like to hear yours.
Well, my honorable mention is simply the Millennial Fair and Chrono Trigger. And the reason it's not topping any of my lists is because I skip it all the time now. There's a couple of fun things you can do in there. I mean, there's a race that you can get in the way of the racers to kind of rig it so you always win.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
There's a strong arm like hammer thing where you get points, like, because you get points every time you beat one of these things, and you can spend the points in the fair. So you do that, and you basically build up your points. There's a beer drinking contest, quote unquote, which they changed to sodas in the North American version. And then there's the Tents of Horrors, or they call it the show tent. And there's 3 games, and that's where you get the Chrono Doll later in the game, but you can get it actually right at the beginning of the game. So you can get the Chrono Doll. You can also get some cats. Like, you get a cat, goes back to your house, and you go back to the show tent, and you keep getting food. And the more you do it, the more cats you have by the end of the game. And then at one point, I believe, it affects one of the endings.
Oh, that's cool.
So I just thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Not to mention everything in the the Millennial Fair you do affects part of the game. Not much later, but about 2-3 hours into the game. So
nice. I think next time I play Chrono Trigger, I'll try to get the Chrono Doll early on, because that's it's kind of clunky within the narrative to have to suddenly go back and get that when you need it.
Yeah, but at least I didn't block it off like soft lock you. It's like, you should have got this at the beginning of the game, asshole.
Yeah, dumbass. We didn't tell you needed it, but it was there and you could have gotten it.
Yeah. All right, so I guess this is the first time we're doing this without Zencaster as a recording app. So Sam, you're gonna have to pretend the banjo's going on. So, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
All right, then let's do number 5.
5.
All right. My number 5 is fishing in Zelda. I'd consider that a mini game, and I have a lot of fun with it, especially the 2 Zelda games that I played the most as a child were Link's Awakening on the Game Boy and Ocarina of Time on the N64. And so maybe this is kind of a ho-hum or a boring mini game, but I honestly sunk a lot of time into the fishing games because I wanted to catch in Link's Awakening, they call it the lunker or whatever, that one that's way on the bottom. And I remember spending a lot of time trying to get that one because I believe it gets you a heart piece or heart container, like the quarter of the heart container. And the same for Ocarina of Time. And I think you can actually fish as a child and as an adult and get rewards or different rewards for each one. So,
nice.
Yeah, I love the fishing game. It's short and sweet.
Yeah. I find, fishing's become kind of overused. Every game seems to have a fishing mini game to it nowadays. And, it's one of the ones I skip.
I would say,
except for games like Stardew Valley,
yes,
where
I was going to mention that one.
It's just relaxing to fish.
Yes, I do like fishing in Stardew Valley, but also I was going to mention that I was disappointed when I booted up, what is it, the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for the first time and found that there was no fishing.
No, you got to jump in there and hit them with the sword.
No, you got to
swim up to them.
Drop an electric arrow into the lake, and then it's like fishing with bombs. I think you can throw the bombs too, because
awesome.
And this is a little off topic, but in Breath of the Wild, you can use the whatever those powers are to make those bombs. You can just throw bombs into the water, and they just blow up, and fish float to the top. You just jump in and gather them up.
Oh, I just swam around and grabbed them as I
swam. That too, but you gotta be quick. So you gotta have the.
Oh, I'm quick. Just ask my wife.
Oh boy. All right. What's your
poor girl?
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is from Final Fantasy VII, and it is inside the gold saucer.
Ooh, that's a good.
One thing I loved about it is the gold saucer. The first time you get it there's some out of order games. Mm-hmm. And then by the time you get to disc 3, you do this snowboarding level.
Yeah.
And I really like the snowboarding level in Final Fantasy VII. Not because of its great mechanics, just because it is simple, dumb fun. And after you complete the snowboarding level, you can go back to the gold saucer, and there'll be an arcade about the snowboarding level where you can actually get scores and times and stuff like that.
I forgot all about that.
Not to mention, you could redo the bike game as well, which I absolutely abhor.
Yeah, no thanks.
Because, God, just swinging that sword left and right. What a goddamn pain in the ass. Give me snowboarding any day of the week, and not that punching mini game either.
Yeah, the punching one sucks. But I did like. I think because don't you have to do the chocobo racing mini game as part of like getting the best chocobo? Isn't like the black chocobo?
If you're going for the gold chocobo there, you have to do the race to. I can't remember if it's like to like level up your chocobo or something before you breed them. But the race is a part.
Yeah,
of it.
that would, if I had any honorable mentions, it would be the chocobo racing in Gold Saucer because
that was pretty.
I remember getting way deep into that one of the last times I played. No, not one of the last times. It was like years ago. I think when I was in college, I got like way deep into trying to get the best chocobo, so I go all over the map.
Yeah, well, the only way to get Knights of the Round is to get the gold chocobo.
Yes, and I did both. And it was awesome.
And once you get Knights of the Round and a Mimic, you're just laughing.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, so that's my number 5. Shall we move on to number 4?
Yeah, let's move on to number 4.
4.
All right, my number 4 is the Safari Zone in Pokemon. And I consider this a mini game because it kind of changes the kind of like the dynamic of how you catch Pokemon. Like you don't get to send one out and weaken it. So it is kind of a mini game because you have to decide whether you're going to throw a rock or throw bait or just throw the ball. You can fish in there and it's the same type of deal, and then you also have the time limit. So to get the rare Pokemon in the Safari Zone is quite a challenge. Especially if you're going for like a Kangaskhan or Chansey or something in the original. And it's in the original and in the GBA remakes, I really enjoyed the Safari Zone. But to go even further, Pokemon Go is fully integrated into the Safari Zone and Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, those remakes that are on the Switch. And that was a lot of fun because you could connect your cell phone to your Switch. I think it was wireless or whatever, and then once they were synced up, you could select a bunch of Pokemon and dump them off into the Safari Zone. As long as they were part of the original 151, and then there was like an additional Pokemon that they made just for this game called Meltan that you could catch in Pokemon Go and import into Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, and that was a lot of fun. So Safari Zone is one of my favorite mini games, and I feel sorry for the folks in China who have Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu but cannot access the Safari Zone because they can't have Pokemon Go.
Seriously?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I might have heard that on Retro Wars, but like instead of being able to go into the Safari Zone, there's like some guy standing in front of it that tells you can't go in there.
China. Yeah. All right, my number 4 is from a classic game called Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Ooh.
And throughout the game, you mentioned already heart pieces. You have to get quarter hearts, and then it fills up your full life when you get a full heart. Or sorry, it adds to your life when you get a full heart. And then one of the mini games in this was a bow and arrow game that you would go into a hut, pull out the bow and arrow, and you would basically take aim at these Octo-Rock guys where these hands would stop the arrow. So you'd be behind a counter and get a certain amount, get a prize. And that's basically what it was. But it was just fun, simple. Don't have to do it, but you're going to do it because you like it. And this game was actually carried forward in other Zeldas as well. So it's been reused over and over again because it is such a good, fun little mini game.
So it's like the shooting gallery one, right? Because I really enjoy the one in Ocarina of Time where there's a version as a kid that you use the little slingshot, and then an adult version where you use the bow and arrow, and you have to like shoot rupees and get a high score, and they'll give you a heart piece.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. It's not overly complicated. It's just, half practice, half luck.
Yeah, that's another.
Eventually you'll figure out the pattern and the speed, and I don't think anything changes so drastically that, you can't figure out where to shoot the arrow, because it's going to take a second to go from your character to the target. So you have to kind of, lead the target before you shoot.
Yeah, absolutely. I would sit not on Link to the Past, but definitely on Ocarina of Time. I would sit and try to perfect the scoring, and it was always so frustrating when you like missed one rupee, like one easy one. It's just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, there was a couple of mini games in Link to the Past I was looking at. There's the digging game, which is pretty fun, where you just grab a shovel and you just dig the crap out of the ground, and somewhere in that large field is a heart piece, and it's all luck if you're going to find it because it moves around. It doesn't stay in the same spot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Another one was a maze you had to get through in 15 seconds.
Oh, that was a fun one.
Once you learn the path. Yeah, but I found the bow and arrow game to be the one that stuck out the most to me, the one I enjoy the most. Because after you figure out the other two, the digging game, once you get the heart, there's no point in doing it again. And the maze, once you figure out the pattern, well, it's just you go through it; it never changes. But yeah,
those bow and arrow games you can play again and again if you'd like to.
Exactly. All right, so that's my number 4. Shall we move on to number 3?
Yeah, let's do number 3.
3.
All right, my number 3 is a modern example. It comes from Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intermission, and also I believe it is part of Rebirth, but it is the Fort Condor game that we mentioned before. I love Fort Condor, and I actually love that kind of mini game, and I guess you could call it a mini game. It's an optional portion of Final Fantasy VII, the original game. But yeah, I like that they took that concept and turned it into like a fully kind of fleshed out board game within, the remake universe, and you can challenge people to it and stuff. You can collect tokens. So it expanded on the original concept where, you start with, I think the 2 different kind of soldiers and maybe the flying guy and the little gun turrets or whatever. But, like the board that you use influences, what happens, and you can upgrade your pieces, and you can use the different spells, like different spell effects and stuff during the game. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I think it extended what would have been a relatively short game in Intermission. I think I took a little bit extra time with it because I was going around making sure I played all the matches. I think actually it would be kind of a fun if they like released it as like a $10 game, and like just had Fort Condor just on its own. I think it would be fun.
Well, it'd be a great game to play on your cell phone because they carried it forward in Rebirth as well, and they kind of expanded on it a little bit, but not so much as to completely ruin it. And I love how they took something that was just part of Final Fantasy VII and just turned it into a mini game to explain why it's not there.
Right. Yeah. Like we don't need to have this separate part where you go to this Fort Condor place. We'll just turn it into like a chess type game.
Yeah, and the whole point of Fort Condor is get the Phoenix materia, so it was not even that like part of the main storyline, anyways.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. I like that one because my number 3 also was Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I didn't think of Fort Condor. It's the darts in 7th Heaven.
Oh shit! I love the darts.
The darts, it's so awesome. Like it's so stupidly simple, and I think it's the only place in the game you can play it. But this should have been everywhere. Honestly, like, you should have been all over this friggin' Midgar there, finding these dartboards to play. And maybe you can. Maybe I'm completely dumb and I missed it.
No, I didn't find any.
Yeah,
there was only one in 7th Heaven.
But yeah, you're at 7th Heaven. Yeah, you're waiting for Baron and all of them downstairs to have their little meeting, and there's a dartboard, and you go play. And it's simple. You adjust your aim, and you try to aim for where you're hitting, and then the longer you hold it, the more it starts shaking. So you got to kind of be quick, but not so quick as to arc it and miss the triple 20 you're going for. Yep. But I played it until I got the top score, and then after that, I found myself playing it some more. It's just such a fun little mini game.
Yeah, I got the top score pretty quick, and then it gives you I think it gives you an achievement, a PlayStation trophy. But
of course,
here's another thing I'd throw at this that they didn't do, and I wish they did. There is a pinball machine that they use as like an elevator next to the dartboard, and I wish that they would have put some sort of playable pinball game.
That would have been great, wouldn't it?
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Mind you, sitting there playing the pinball game, and all of a sudden the whole dart or pinball machine goes down on the floor. What the fuck?
And you end up down there.
Oh man. Yeah, I got nothing else to say about the dart game. It's great on its own.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple little mini game. That's a fun one.
If you've played darts, you know the concept. It's not exactly trying to make like a roguelike game or anything like that. You just throw darts at a board, score, and then feel satisfied when you win.
Yeah, and the throwing mechanic was actually pretty, not, I wouldn't say like accurate or whatever, but like, yeah, that sort of way that if you wait too long, you got to wait till it like zeroes in on where you're throwing, and if you wait too long,
Yeah.
it doesn't go where you want it to.
Wow, it was great. All right, shall we get into number 2?
Number 2.
2.
All right, my number 2 is also from a Final Fantasy VII game, but we're dialing it back to Final Fantasy VIII, and that's Triple Triad.
I figured that one was coming for you.
I played the shit out of Triple Triad. It is by far, I'd say by far, the best mini game in a Final Fantasy, and that includes Fort Condor. I would play Triple Triad over Fort Condor. I played Final Fantasy VIII last a couple years ago, and I made sure to focus on it because as a kid, I don't think I played it to its fullest extent. I think you could get your Guardian Force cards, which are the summons. But if you dig deeper and play certain people at certain times, you end up getting all the main characters have their own cards. And so you can win those cards off of them and add them to your deck. And if you have main playable characters and Guardian Forces in your deck, I mean, you're pretty much unstoppable. Once you acquire a few of them and some of the stronger monsters, you're rolling, and you can beat pretty much anyone. And it's just funny. It's also hilarious too, and really memeable when obviously the world is falling apart, or we're trying to avoid Armageddon and we need to do something really urgently, but you can challenge this dude sitting there to play a game of cards. Oh, you want to play a game of cards? Yeah, and we're gonna.
Oh, it's like an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, and it's we're gonna sit here and play this until I win your best card off of you. We're not gonna. We're not playing around with saving the world right now. I want your cards because I know that you have Quistis.
Ignore the fires back there. Yeah. No, I tried playing Final Fantasy VIII not too long ago, and first thing I did is jump into a Triple Triad game, and I got my ass handed to me so badly I lost my entire starter deck.
Oh no!
So I reloaded. Yeah, I reloaded the game and I tried again, and I got fucked over again. I just screw this, full fucking game's dumb. So I just turned off Final Fantasy VIII and went and played something else.
I would get to the point where I would make sure to find a save point and save, and then go challenge the person because
that's what I was doing.
You still lost all your
just
cards.
Got completely wiped out. I'm just you know what, fuck this. I'm fucking done. Screw it.
I got to the point where I could kind of anticipate, because there's double moves or whatever where they you hit the corner and you flip half the board or whatever, and you can get really fucked over on those if you're not careful.
Oh, that's what kept happening to me.
You don't.
That and the garbage cards they started
with. Yeah, you start with some pretty shitty ones.
Yeah. All right, my number 3 comes from a series that is near and dear to my heart, from a company that is not near and dear to my heart. That's Far Cry by Ubisoft. In particular, Far Cry 3. I recently did a playthrough of that stellar game, fantastically awesome game. And throughout the middle of the game, I found myself needing some money, so I wandered into a hut where there was a game of poker being played, old Texas Hold'em.
Ooh.
And I ended up playing this game so much, I forgot that, again, the world was in peril. I have to find my friends. They're going to be murdered. But Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me play poker for a few hours.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And it's just a straight-up game of Texas Hold'em. There's no fancy elements to it. You play against 4 people. You bet money as you'd bet in Texas Hold'em. Raise them, call, hold, anything you want, and you get a good poker hand. You win the round. Money or the chips go to you, and you carry on. If you lose all your money, you can buy back in after.
When did I'm looking up when Far Cry 3 came out. I'm wondering. Oh, that was a PS4 game. 2012.
Oh, it was before that.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's saying initial release 2012, so it was a PS3. Yeah, that's 2012.
Yeah.
That was kind of the tail end of that peak Texas Hold'em poker, World Series of Poker, be on TV all the time.
Oh God,
yeah.
My YouTube algorithm started picking those up for a while. I'm like, oh, okay. It's watch this person get a lucky flop on a King 8 and win millions of dollars. I'm like, okay. And watching these people and the way they just try to be so stoic is just annoys the fuck.
Yeah,
out of
everyone's
me.
freaking out. And they're just sitting there behind their cheap sunglasses, like, oh, I knew that was happening.
Yeah, and then they do the I'm all in, trying to be all cool and stuff like that. Then they stand up and they have like now that they can be nervous, so they're sitting there walking around, and then they lose and they have to be humble about it. But you can see in their eyes they're like, "Fuck, this fucking bullshit, man."
Yeah, the stand up was always funny. It's like, oh, he's all in. You must stand up.
Yeah. But no, I just like a good old game with a small group of people. That's how I play my poker nowadays.
Yeah.
But that, or I go to Far Cry 3 and I play poker in Far Cry 3. There's also apparently there's poker in Red Dead Redemption 2. But every time I start that game, I get to a certain point and I end up wandering away from my camp, and then I stop playing because I'm not doing any of the main objectives. I'm about 400 miles from my camp and I don't want to go back.
Yeah, and you have to hoof it all the way back.
Exactly.
There's no fast travel or
Yeah,
anything, right?
I can't remember. I tend not to use fast travel that often. Games that are absolutely gorgeous, so I have no idea.
Oh, that's true. Well, then you can ride your 400
All right.
miles, you fucker. All right, we're on to number 1.
We are, but before that, we got comments.
That's right. Go for it.
So I'll read them. You react.
Okay.
I'll start with Guy Who Does Things because, well, this wasn't really relevant to the entire topic of the show, but he wrote in, and I'm going to give him his 5 minutes. Love you, Guy Who Does Things. You're my best friend. He says, Vampire Survivors, almost as good as Slay the Spire. That is his entire comment.
Gasp. Sorry, that was my reaction.
Yes,
You said I needed to react to them, so that was my reaction.
Fair point. Neither of them are mini games, Guy.
Well,
both of them great games. So.
Vampire Survivors is kind of a mini game, isn't it? I mean, it's not the deepest game,
it's
right?
a full game.
Oh,
well,
I gotta try that one out more.
A mini game, mini game is something inside of a game. Vampire Survivors and Slay the Spire are full games.
I've watched gameplay of Vampire Survivors. It looks like a fun game. I've not actually played it though.
It is fun. It is so fun. All you do is move around your character around with your stick. There's no button pushing or nothing. It's just he automatically shoots what he's going to shoot, and then it just for some reason is captivatingly fun.
Yeah, I see a lot of ads for mobile games that kind of try to capture that, and I don't think that any of them do. Probably
no, but Vampire Survivors is on mobile.
Oh, that's perfect.
As is Slay the Spire.
That's a perfect those are both
great games.
Those are both perfect mobile games.
Yeah, go buy them on the recommendation of Guy Who
Do
Does
it now.
Things.
All right.
Yeah, and if you don't like them, send your invoice to him. He'll pay you back. All right, so the second one comes from our newest Patreon member, Fallen Snow Kiku, and she says, some of my favorite mini games are the ones in the Yakuza Like a Dragon series. Host club management, slot car racing, beetle fighting, baseball simulation, and even gang wars. There's a ton in each entry to completely lose hours in. Sorry, my eyes are blurring. That's not even counting the That's not even counting the ports of the classic Sega arcade games in each one. It would be wrong to call the series a brawler with a lot of mini-games tossed in for good measure, but that's not incorrect. I want to play those games. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, that sounds
really cool.
If
you're listening to this, Fallen Snow Kiku, write me a list, please, in the Discord. I need to know where I need to start.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I like... first of all, slot car racing is awesome, and I used to do that in RL with real slot cars, and it was fun. And I don't think those places are around anymore, so that sucks.
Slot car racing, it's just not those like scout cars where you build them out of wood and fire them down a ramp.
No, that's Pinewood Derby. Those are cool too, but slot cars are like, you know how you'd get those little electronic like car tracks for Christmas or whatever as a kid.
Oh yeah, I have one
so those
I have one in the basement.
Those are most likely HO scale cars, and then there's the like
Ho scale.
HO scale. Ho scale.
Ho.
And then there's a larger version where like the track is like maybe like table or counter height and takes up a good chunk of the room, and then you race your cars on that. and it's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Some of the tracks go like
Sounds
up
like
the
a lot of
walls
fun.
and down and stuff like that, like bank turns and cool shit. Like they're pretty fucking sweet. I miss doing that.
But I can bet. But look, I love a game that has a ton of mini games inside of it. Even though I'm not a big mini game guy, Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 were kind of the same way, where you could just do a whole shitload of mini games. And if they're small and fun mini games where you can kind of get into them really quick, I love it. Otherwise, I'll just avoid them. But this looks like it has a lot of ones I want to try.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, especially if it's a catalog of Sega games or something like that, you know, like in Yakuza, where it's like, yeah, I'll play a cool, you know, modern game and then be able to jump into an arcade and play some Space Harrier or Columns or whatever the hell. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually pretty neat too. Cool. Well, thank you for writing in that. Well, at least one of you. The other one, you know who you are. Let's go to number one, shall we, Sam?
1.
Yes, and my number one is, I don't know if this is going to count as a mini game, but I think it does because it kind of goes along with what Kiku said about having old Sega games in Yakuza, and mine is Maniac Mansion being embedded into Day of the Tentacle. So I guess it counts as maybe a mini game, but like the entire Maniac Mansion game from 1987 was basically like incepted into Day of the Tentacle, which was the...
You know what?
Yeah. What?
I'm going to count it because that means Metal Gear Solid is a mini game.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. Metal Gear Solid was embedded into Metal Gear Solid 4 when Snake falls asleep on a helicopter.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
And then dreams the entirety of Metal Gear Solid. You can play through the whole game.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that works. Yeah, so I love when they do stuff like that. So Day of the Tentacle is a 1993 LucasArts point-and-click adventure game. And you can play the... so, like yeah, I guess you just answered my question, but like I wrote down here, where else can you play a game sequel and find the entire original game embedded within? Well, it's one of the
I should
sequels.
have waited.
But
I could have.
Yeah, you should.
I could have had that moment you had on that Ready Player One episode. It's like, name a VR game, and you just shut me right up.
And I didn't even name it. I was just like, that one Horizon one. I don't know. Yeah,
God.
but I thought that was cool because that was actually Maniac Mansion itself was a bit ahead of my time, but Day of the Tentacle definitely was not, and I played that a ton. So I got to experience Maniac Mansion via Day of the Tentacle, and I mean, it's hard as fuck, but it's fun to play. So that's mine.
So there is something when you mention a full game inside of a game. It reminded me there is a video game that actually let you watch an entire movie by just not playing the game, because when the movie's playing, and it's The Darkness, which lets you watch the entirety of To Kill a Mockingbird and The Man with the Golden Arm.
What? That sounds
Yeah,
so
you can just
boring.
sit there. Oh yeah, I mean, you're watching the game, watching people watch this movie. So, but it's just kind of neat that they, instead of just putting a little clip that'll repeat after a while, they just put the whole friggin' movie in.
I mean, that's pretty cool, I guess, but like, man.
Well, fine.
To Kill a
High on
Mockingbird is a
Life here.
dry ass movie to embed into like the entire movie into a video game. Oh man, when you said
Yeah, it's just
when you said you can watch a whole movie, I was like, is it Metal Gear Solid 3 or like what is it? One of the is it a
fuck, that'd
Kojima
be
game?
hilarious. Yeah, fuck. No. It's just something I remember seeing in like little tidbits of facts that you didn't know about video games.
That's crazy.
I never would watch a whole movie in a video game like that. It just sounds, like you said, boring, but I just think it's neat when they take the time to do that detail.
Next time I want to watch To Kill a Mockingbird, I'm going to fire up that game and I'm going to watch it via the game.
Exactly, with crappy sound.
That's right.
All right, so I saved my number one because I knew it would annoy you a little bit.
Yes.
That's why I made number one on my
All
list.
right.
It is the hacking from BioShock. So the hacking is actually a game you can buy on like most platforms, and all it is water starts flowing out of a pipe on one end, and you have to turn the pipes in a grid pattern so that the water flows to the end of it, and you can which I guess effectively unlocks the what's it called?
Well, whatever you're hacking, though,
the,
like it was a safe or a robot or whatever.
Yeah, and if you fail, it'll set off an alarm, which is, again, kind of neat. Or you have to avoid the alarm.
And shock you.
I can't remember which it is.
And it shocks you, too.
Yeah. Either way, I found that to be really neat, and I actually found the game to be extremely fun.
Well.
A lot of people talk positively about the hacking mini game, so maybe it's just you, Sam.
It might be just me. Actually, I didn't hate it. It just sometimes, like, if I messed up, I got really irritated on like the easy ones. Like if you're just trying to hack a camera, or one of those like drone guns, it should be pretty easy. But nah, I don't know. Sometimes I just goofed it up.
Yeah, oh man, it's been a minute since we played. Well, it's been longer since I played the game, but. You eventually get a power where you can hack things just by using your plasmids, right?
Yeah, there were upgrades that made the water flow through the pipe slower, or made it easier for you to hack just in general. And then there was also you could get like the auto hack. You could pick some of those up sometimes, and those were useful for like when you're underpowered for hacking a safe or whatever. You can throw in an auto hack and get the safe open.
Well, I found it to be particularly fun, and as a lock-picking mechanic, so to speak, it was probably one of the best in video games.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I find a lot of games struggle with the lock-picking mechanic. Skyrim, I think, does it well with their the turn knob system, but I've had other ones where you have to push up the tumblers and try to get them to stick into place, and all you're doing is tapping up until it sticks.
Well, that's fun. What a fun game. Just tap up.
Yeah.
No. What was there another game that we were talking about recently that had some sort of hacking mechanic that was similar to BioShock, or was I imagining that?
We did talk BioShock recently, so
maybe it was just BioShock.
Possibly. We might have talked about the hacking in BioShock, but I think I kind of remember what you're now you mention it. We compared something to BioShock. Man, now I got to go through the catalog of games we talked about.
Oh well, whatever. Someone's probably screaming at the at their phone like
don't scream. It'd be like a wild card in the middle of a grocery store yelling the F word.
Just do it. Just scream wherever you are.
In front of his daughter.
Wherever you are, start screaming. Even if you're in like a public bathroom, just go for it.
Was it? It wasn't Luigi's Mansion, was it?
It might have been.
I don't know. It's not that important. We're just kind of
it's gonna bother us, so it's gonna bother me for the rest of the day.
Off topic right now. All right, Sam. That was our top 5 minigame list. I'm quite happy with how this one turned out.
Yeah, that was a fun one. We gotta get some more of these 5x5s again. I know we were, as you said, on a heater with the games, but these are fun to mix in. So hopefully more to come pretty soon.
Absolutely, and hopefully we can convince Alan to join us and do a 5x5x5 or a 5 cubed, if you may.
Yeah, 5 cubed. 5 cubed is.
What's that equals? 5 times 5 is 25 times 5. So we'll call it a 125.
125, and we have to list 125 of something. So.
Oh my God, that would be brutal. We'd be here for
your
weeks.
Top 125 Pokemon. Go.
I just start from 0 and count up. It's like I have no idea. Pikachu 2.
No.
What's the one from the TV show? The little yellow one. What's his name? Pikachu. Okay, I choose that one.
125.
What about the one that's with? Yeah. What's the one with that kid all the time? Pikachu. Okay, I'll choose that one. All right, so thank you very much for listening. This is the end of the episode. I guess we should probably end it before we just end up in a random casual conversation.
Yep, that'll happen.
It does very often with us. We're very easily distracted. Always, Sam, it's great talking to you.
Yeah.
I love doing this still.
Yep, me too.
Can't believe it's been over a year, and we're just getting stronger and stronger.
Yep, that's we haven't even reached our final form.
Yeah. All I can say is our Christmas episode is coming up, and we found a banger of a game to play for this Christmas episode. It is called The Legend of Santa. You can get it, too, on your Nintendo Switch for $6 Canadian, so they'll probably pay you to take it in the States. And you probably need a license in Britain.
Yeah, it's a relatively
So
inexpensive little indie, and it's fun. So if you'd like to play that along with us, grab it and play it. It's a lot of fun. It's on Switch, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, everywhere.
Yeah, so we'll be back with that episode following this one. And if you don't listen to us until after the Christmas holidays, well, I hope you had a Merry Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, well, have a great holiday anyways, I guess.
Yes, whatever you celebrate. Have a great one.